Hi everyone. Welcome to my studio here in Milton, Ontario. I'm Chris Wilson and I'm taken to YouTube these days to share some of the knowledge that I've gathered over the last 30 years of teaching. And I'm going to continue exploring this idea of combining triads with diminished chords. Okay. I'm thinking that this is a fairly extensive subject, and I'm going to divide the videos up into probably a beginner, intermediate, and an advanced level, so that I can get this across to as many people as possible. Okay, so this will be the beginner lesson, and I think that this is the kind of thing that is, on the surface, it sounds complicated, and it is quite complex if you get deeper into it, but it can be taught in a way that is usable to the beginner right away. So I'm going to do that first, so I get everybody, as many people as possible, involved in doing this. Okay, that said, I'm accepting students right now, so if you're in the Milton area, Milton, Ontario, that is, please look me up, and I'm happy to talk to you about lessons for both you or your children, because I do teach kids as well. And yeah, so I'll put a link in my description for my website, and it'll have my phone number on that, okay? So let's get started. So a C chord is my first chord in Amazing Grace. You probably have heard this song before. I played it earlier, and I played it in a little bit of a strange way, you might think, because of this diminished harmony trick that I'm trying to show you. So I used it in that, so you might want to go back and listen to some of the things that I did there. But we'll get started with a C chord, because it's just in C. That's the way I did it anyway. So C, E, and G. Don't pay attention to my bad fingering. This is just keeping out of the way of the camera. It should be like that. So C, E, and G. And that's going to be considered your good guys. Okay, so that's your consonant notes. All right. I'll explain that in a second. So your bad guys, you're going to find a diminished chord by going back one step from the C, or wherever chord you're on. So in this case it's B. And I'm going to build a diminished chord from here, going up in thirds. So these are called minor thirds. There are 3 steps, so 3 half steps. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I get a B, a D, an F, and an A flat. And those are the bad guys. Okay, and you can hear them if I put a C down below and I play these. They're quite tense. There's a lot of there's a lot of turmoil in that, and that it wants to go somewhere. It wants to go here, back to your good guys. So we could call it a good or a bad place, wanting to resolve to a good place. Okay. And yes, I agree, this is kind of a silly way to talk about notes, but it's a good way to remember it, which is the key issue here. You've got to remember your bad guys and your good guys. And you have to remember it in such a way that you can pull it out of a hat instantly. You don't want to have to be thinking about it. Okay, so for every C chord that I'm playing in any song, I'm also thinking B diminished, okay, as ways of decorating that C chord. Okay, so if I were to do some of these, so if I put like a B and an F together, that makes what's called a tritone, and that's found in the diminished chord. There's 2 bad guys. Okay, you can hear the tension there. The B will actually want to go up to the C, that good guy, and the F will want to go down to the E. Okay, so you'll get this resolution that way. There's another tritone in this diminished chord from A flat to D that also wants to resolve. And it can resolve from the A flat to the D to the G, and the D, I can actually go from the D to the C or the D to the E. Let's try that. Okay, so just to give you an example, if I play the song, I would run the melody and then try to sneak these in, either just lining them up with the melody on certain notes or just playing them afterwards if I give myself a little space. Kind of like that. And I would carry on to my next chord. I'm going to leave the next chord, the F chord, as part of my intermediate version of this, okay? So I'm not overwhelming anybody, but you can just sit on these chords like a C chord and play all day with this, just with the C chord. It can be really enjoyable. Making really interesting lines, just holding down a C with a bass. Sounds like an F minor chord, because it is an F minor chord. But I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking one good guy with two bad guys. Okay? And yes, you can think of it, in a more traditional theoretical sense, absolutely. And you should probably cross-reference the two things. But this little hack that I'm giving you is a little quicker, and it's a different perspective on it. So good to have. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Look me up if you're looking for lessons, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.